Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. I've got another Junk Journal with me episode here in my vintage junk journal. And in this page, I really wanted to use some of this gorgeous paper ephemera from my real life, from my own life, that came from my grandpa on my dad's side. So there's these beautiful typewritten pages and handwritten pages that I got in a notebook from him. So my dad passed it down to me, and between me and my sister-in-law we kept some of the pages, and those are the ones that I kept. And I'm pulling out some other things here, some typewriter, ephemera, journal cards, pictures I cut out from a magazine. There's another scrap of the original from my grandpa. And this is a piece of paper that I used to do some typing on. And these here are some bookmarks. I used to make bookmarks before I discovered junk journals. I used to make bookmarks, and I had photocopied all my grandpa's writings and made bookmarks out of them. Oh, I've also got this folder here where I keep all my typewriter themed stuff, or writing themed papers. And I'm just pulling out some things I think I might want to include. I just love typewriters. They're one of my favorite things. And there's some book pages that you saw at the start that had this beautiful brown patina to it, and that came from a book from my grandpa as well. And I'm just grabbing another folder that I keep a bit of ephemera in, because I'm looking for a printout of a photo that I took of the typewriter, my grandpa's typewriter, and I just couldn't remember where I put it, but it was in this folder here, so you'll see it in a second. There it is. So I just pull out a few more pieces, or a couple more pieces. One is a photocopy, a photo of his writings. So I just pull out everything that I think I might want to use, and then I narrow it down. And basically, the story behind this page is how it was a dream of mine to own a typewriter. And one day, a few years ago, I said to my dad, my dream is to have a typewriter one day. And oh, by the way, those are the things that I ended up using on this page, what I just showed before. And hang on, it's hard to kind of talk about the story and also talk about what I'm doing at the same time. So I chose this page because it says ink at the top there. So I thought that would work well for ink, writing ink. And this narrow page here was perfect to fit that piece there. So this was a scrap that I used some originals as well to make original bookmarks using my grandpa's writing. And I ended up deciding this was all okay to use the originals or just that one piece of original, because I've already got about 10 other pages that I won't touch. I won't cut up or put in journals or anything. Those I'll preserve as originals from my grandpa. But that little scrap piece there, I was happy to use the original in my journal, which I love that I can use authentic original ephemera from my life that is also vintage, I suppose, and related to my family and everything. So back to the story, as I've cut out this piece here. So I said to my dad it was one of my dreams to own a typewriter, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I have a typewriter. It was your grandpa's. Do you want it?" And I said, "Really?" Like, yes. And then he brought it out right then and there, and he gave me the typewriter. And it's pretty amazing, this vintage typewriter. And as soon as I got it, I grabbed a piece of A4 paper, which I'm cutting up right now, and typed on it to test it out. So the ribbon didn't have much ink on the ribbon left, and I pretty much only was able to type out this one little sheet, and now it's an ornament on my desk. And I basically just wrote, "This is the best day ever," or things like that. "This is the best present ever. I love this typewriter so much, and this is like having 1,000,000 birthdays in one day." And I just wanted to capture this memory, this moment of pure excitement and joy. And that's what that paper represents to me, just that outpouring of joy written or typed on my grandpa's typewriter with a dream come true. So it's a very meaningful page to me. And I kept that little piece of paper because I always knew that I would want to commemorate it and include it in one of my journals one day somehow. And today is the day. I do have a photocopy of it too, for those who are wondering. So I have got a scanned version of it, and it sits on my laptop as a file that I can print out whenever I want. So again, I was happy to use the original in my vintage journal here, with the aim being to not hoard these special pieces, to not be afraid of using them. And then I just grabbed that brown washi tape to provide a neutral vintage look to cover that gap. It was a bit too white in between there, so I covered that up, and then I'm cutting this down a little bit so that it's the height of the journal pages, and it overlaps that journal page a little bit, but that was a shorter page, so I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's now the height of the other pages, the tallest pages in the journal. And then I just glue that down onto the page. I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a pocket behind there. So underneath that lined paper, there's a pocket with that little bit of extra paper peeking out. And I do end up making use of that pocket and adding some more bits of ephemera later on. Okay, so then I think I grab I'm still playing around with this, and I was going to put it up vertically, but then the writing would have been the wrong way, which I don't mind too much, but just for this page I wanted it horizontal, and so I could use the rest of the page to feature something else. And that's the picture of the typewriter that was my grandpa's. And this other picture is just a picture of a typewriter that I would like to buy. And I was just playing around, do I put it in this pocket, or where do I put these things? And in the end, I end up sticking my grandpa's typewriter to feature that on the page. Like, I don't want that hidden away. I want to be able to turn the page and see it straight away, since that's what this page is about, that typewriter essentially. And I like the idea of that bottom piece of paper, typewritten page, going across the two pages. It kind of ties the pages together, blends them together, but I don't know, it also just is a bit of a different look. And then I'm just playing around here, adding the book page onto the rest of the page. So I pretty much end up covering the entire pages of my journal with ephemera or papers. I'm just trimming this down a little bit so I can see more of that paper. It was getting covered a bit too much, and this photo that I printed out was quite large in the end. But the way I worked this out was to grab another bit of washi tape, and I made a flip so that I could open that up, and then you can see all of that book page, which was nice. So first I'm just trimming this down, and I'm going to cut it in half so that I don't waste that bottom piece. And yeah, just playing around with my layout. And yeah, I was pretty proud of this one too. I came up with this layout myself for the main thing. It is a bit of a longer video as well, as I'm just working it out. In a live quite a while ago, some of the ladies were helping me think through this layout, but I definitely knew I wanted to do this one as a process video because it's very meaningful and special to me, featuring all of those authentic pieces from my life. Okay, so then I'm just gluing this down with clear craft glue. And then I grab the typewritten page and I glue that down as well across the two pages. So do you guys like typewriters as well? I love typewriters. I would collect them if I could, but no, my grandpa's typewriter is beautiful. It's just a bit more kind of, because it's old and clunky, it's not very user friendly. So instead of getting ribbons and researching what ribbons it needs and getting it serviced or anything, my plan, and it's been on my wish list for a very long time, is to actually buy myself a typewriter. So even though my dream came true and I do own a typewriter now, and it has such sentimental, meaningful meaning behind it, I still have my heart set on buying another typewriter that I can actually use, daily, that I can know where to get ribbons from, that's fully functioning straight away, that doesn't need a service. And my heart is set on one that is either aqua or teal or mint or eggshell blue or cornflower blue, that kind of shade, with white keys. So every now and then I will look on Etsy and eBay and just check or type in blue typewriter. And that's why I've got that picture in that pocket, which I'll bring out later and do something with. But that just represents what's on my wish list and another dream of mine. So it's fun. I'd own 2 typewriters. I know it's a bit overkill, but one is more just unusable, sentimental value, whereas the other one is for decoration, actually. Partly 50% decoration, 50% so I can use it. So then I grabbed this journal card here with the other typewriter, and I like how it matches because it's an aqua or teal mint typewriter on the journal card. But I wanted to write on the back of it since there is journaling space there, so why not use that? So I end up using this one, and it's got a typewriter font on the journal card on one side, and then I thought I could cover it up on the other side with the typewriter and just stick it down because, you know, that magazine piece was too flimsy to go into that pocket by itself, and I didn't really want to see the clock on the back of it. So by sticking it onto here, it gives it more weight, and I can, you know, skip out seeing that red clock. So I just trim it down so that it will be able to fit onto the journal card. And I really like how this adds more of an interactive element. There already is interactivity with the flip, but this just adds an extra dimension of interactivity with, you know, pulling out journal cards from that pocket, which is quite fun. And I like how they show through as well. You'll be able to see later on, I think you'll be able to see later on, where they kind of poke out a little bit at the top, and I love that, the layers. So just sticking this down, and you can see that there's a green border that shows around the outside. And oh, it's such a beautiful typewriter. If I got that one, I'd be happy. So pretty. Although I think I do want more blue, so like an aqua or eggshell blue, but like a light blue. Anyway, I've got my eye on one at the moment. Just postage is very expensive, isn't it? But that's understandable because it's quite heavy. All right, so now I was going to do some writing, but hang on. I grabbed my stamp pad and my date stamp, and I love this actually. I always stamp, well, not stamp, but I always put the date on every page I do. And what I end up doing, see that? Well, you probably can't see it right now, but there's that white gap from that journal card, and it just was a bit too plain and white. And this was the perfect place to put this date. I love it. So that pokes out, and you can see the date there. I love it. And I love those 2 journaling cards just poking out the side. Okay, so now I am going to do my journaling, and I just sped it up a little bit because the rest of this video is now me just writing. And on this flap, all I'm doing is writing about that story I told you, how I told my dad about my dream to have a typewriter, and he gave me a typewriter, and it was like, whoa, unexpected present coming straight away, and dream come true, like instantly. It was amazing. And then me playing around on that piece of paper, just being so excited and happy, and just, oh my gosh, this typewriter is awesome, and just over and over again I wrote, this is the best, this is the best. So it was one of the most excited times I've ever been in my entire life, and I love how that piece of paper records that for me. So anytime I look at that piece of paper, I don't even have to remember what I wrote or read what I wrote. I just instantly am taken back to that moment and remember that feeling, and that's that feeling that I want to try and capture here on this page. So as a writer, I just love typewriters. I love the vintage typewriter look and everything, and just the history, and just having my grandpa's typewriter is just extra special. So I'll always have that for, you know, the rest of my life. Then after this, I pull out the last piece of journaling space that is on this page spread, which is behind one of the journaling cards. And on this, I actually can't remember what I wrote. I can't quite see what I'm writing here because the voice recording box is over the top of the page, but the video did cut off abruptly. I think I ran out of space and it cut off before I could show the finished spread, but you've basically seen it. And I managed to mostly fill up writing this. You can probably read it on camera. I can't remember what I wrote. I think I wrote about the book page as well, how that's from my grandpa too, and my grandpa's writing. So it's dedicated to my grandpa, the typewriter, my love of writing, my dream of owning a typewriter, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.